I never imagined that the night I returned from my mother's bedside, her frail hand still warm in mine, would be the same night I learned what true terror felt like. See, when you spend 3 days watching the woman who raised you fight for her life, your mind becomes sharp. You begin to sense wrongness. You begin to hear danger before it whispers. So when I stepped into my house at 11:47 p.m., a place that usually smelled like my wife Angel's lavender candles and our daughter Callista's vanilla lotion, something was different. The silence was too thick, too intentional, too prepared. I called out, "Angel?" No answer. I called again, "Callista?" Still nothing. But then, I heard it. A faint, muffled thump. Coming from underneath me. From the basement. At first, I froze. Because that sound didn't belong to an empty house. It belonged to someone who needed help. My instincts kicked in. Heart pounding, pulse shaking in my fingertips, I walked to the basement door. And when I grabbed the knob, I felt something cold slide down my spine. The door was locked from the outside. With a padlock I never bought. My stomach turned. My head spun. Who would lock the basement from the outside? I leaned close and whispered, "Hello? Anyone there?" Then I heard her voice. My wife. My angel. Crying. Begging. Barely breathing. "Japheth, please, help me." And that was the moment everything in me broke. Everything I thought I knew about my family, shattered. Because only one other person had access to that basement. Our daughter. Our only daughter. And she had left her own mother down there, to die. I felt my chest tighten as my vision blurred with shock and rage. Whatever was waiting behind that door, whatever truth I was about to uncover, it was going to change everything. My name is Japheth Holt, and tonight, I learned the kind of secret that destroys a man from the inside out. Before I opened that basement door, before I saw what my daughter had done, the day had already started heavy. My mother, 78 years old, had slipped into a coma that morning. I spent hours beside her, holding her fragile fingers, replaying memories I wish I cherished sooner. When the doctor finally told me to go home and rest, I didn't want to. But Angel insisted over the phone. "Japheth, go home. Sleep. I'll take care of things here. Callista will be fine." Her voice sounded shaky. Now I realize I should have noticed. The drive home was long, too quiet. My mind was drowning in memories of childhood, of my mother braiding my hair, cooking soup when I had fevers, praying loudly for me every morning. But when I pulled into my driveway, I saw something strange. Callista's car was parked crooked. Like she left in a hurry, or didn't care anymore. Callista isn't the careless type. She's 21, smart, graduating soon, the kind of girl who double-checks if a cup is placed exactly on a coaster. So that crooked car? It bothered me. Deeply. When I entered the house and found the lights off, the living room scattered, the smell of cold food in the air, I knew something wasn't right. Then came the muffled noise. The cry. The begging. Angel. Locked in the basement. My hands shook violently as I searched for the padlock key. I tore through drawers, cabinets, shelves, nothing. I even called Callista. No answer. Just straight to voicemail. That's when I grabbed my toolbox, pulled out a hammer, and struck the padlock with everything inside me. Metal clanged against metal, echoing through the dead silence of the house. Bang. 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 On the fourth hit, the padlock snapped. The door jerked open. And a cold wave of dread wrapped around me like a fist. The basement was dark. Too dark. I flicked on the light switch, and what I saw froze every drop of blood in my body. Angel was lying on the floor, wrists tied, ankles bruised, face swollen, lips cracked from dehydration. She had been down there for hours, maybe days. Her eyes lifted weakly when she saw me. Japheth. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked like breaking glass. I rushed to her side, cradling her gently. Tears burned my eyes. "Who did this to you? Tell me. Angel, tell me who did this." Her fingers trembled as they touched my cheek. Her lips shook. She swallowed painfully, forcing the words out. It was Callista. My world stopped. Our daughter? The same child she carried for 9 months? The same girl she stayed up for during fevers and heartbreaks? The same baby she defended even when I thought she was wrong? Why would Callista do this? Angel squeezed my hand. She knows everything, Japheth. She found out something. Something about me. Something I never told you. My heart hammered so hard it felt like it would explode. What did she find out? Angel, what? Before she could answer, we heard footsteps upstairs. Slow. Heavy. Intentional. Callista was home. Just say, continue. The moment I heard those footsteps, something icy slid into my chest. Slow. Deliberate. Echoing through the house like the heartbeat of something evil. Angel gripped my hand tighter, her breath sharp and painful. Japheth, don't let her finish what she started. Her voice cracked into a whisper, trembling with fear I had never seen in her, not even during childbirth, not during her surgeries, not during our hardest years. I stood up slowly, my legs weak but my rage stronger than any fear. I moved toward the staircase, each step feeling like I was walking into something dark, something unholy. The light at the top flickered. A silhouette appeared. Callista. My daughter. My baby girl. But the look on her face? It wasn't the girl I raised. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but cold, hard, like something inside her had snapped. Dad, she said, her voice surprisingly calm. You weren't supposed to come back tonight. I felt my knees wobble, anger growing like wildfire. What did you do to your mother? She swallowed, eyes darting past me, toward the basement floor where Angel lay hurt. I didn't want to hurt her, she whispered. You locked her in a basement. I roared, the sound echoing off the walls. Callista flinched but didn't step back. That's because she was going to leave us. Callista's voice broke. She was going to walk out on this family. On YOU. My heart pounded. Who told you that? She did, Callista said bitterly. I saw her messages. The secret emails. The burner account. She had been planning it for months. I froze. Angel? Planning to leave me? No. That didn't sound like her. But Callista kept going, her rage bubbling to the surface. She was meeting with someone, some man. I saw the username. I saw the messages. I can't stay much longer. He doesn't know. My head spun. Angel? Cheating? No. Something wasn't adding up. Callista shook her head, tears streaming. I confronted her. Asked her who he was. She panicked. Slapped me. Said I didn't understand. So I followed her. And Dad, she went to a warehouse. A place only criminals hide in. My stomach dropped. A warehouse? I knew that place. My brother Marcus owned it. He used it for private investigations, tracking criminals to help the police. Angel knew that. She'd been helping him with accounting and filing for years. Callista didn't know. And the misunderstanding was starting to reveal itself. I tried to speak gently. Callista, you misread the situation. No, she screamed. I didn't misread anything. She admitted it. She told me the truth after I tied her. My breath hitched. She told you what truth? Callista's lips trembled. She said, she's been hiding something from you. Something that would destroy you. Something you wouldn't forgive. My heart cracked open. What was she talking about? I demanded. Callista's voice was tiny now. I thought it was about another man. I thought she was betraying you. But when I locked her down there and demanded she say everything, she finally did. I stepped closer, trembling. Anger mixed with fear in my veins. Callista, what did your mother tell you? Callista looked at me with eyes full of tears and confusion. She said, her voice cracked violently. She said that I'm not your biological daughter. My soul stopped. Her ringing filled my ears. My breath disappeared. Callista's face blurred as shock swallowed me whole. What? I whispered. What did you just say? She said it was a mistake, Callista sobbed. That she was young. Scared. That the man disappeared before she even told him. And that she married you shortly before finding out she was pregnant. I felt the room tilt. The ground shook under my feet. The world blurred. Callista kept crying. She said she never told you because she didn't want to lose you. But I thought, if you found out yourself, you'd hate her. I thought she'd run away before you ever discovered the truth. She looked down, guilty. So I locked her away until she agreed to tell you. But then? I panicked. I didn't know what to do next. I swallowed hard, my chest burning. Callista wasn't trying to kill Angel. She was terrified. Lost. Broken by a truth she didn't know how to carry. But Angel? Angel had lied to me for over 2 decades. My heart felt like it had been stabbed through. Dad, Callista whispered, taking a step toward me. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I didn't want to lose you too. I opened my mouth to speak. But suddenly, Angel's weak voice rose behind me. Japheth, don't listen to her. I spun around. Angel had dragged herself halfway up the stairs, gripping the railing with bloody palms. She didn't tell you everything, Angel rasped. There's more, Japheth. So much more. My pulse slammed through my ears. More? I whispered. Angel nodded slowly. And the terror in her eyes told me. Whatever she was about to say next was even worse than not being my daughter's father. Angel clung to the staircase rail like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Her breaths were shallow, painful, each inhale sounding like it scraped her lungs. Blood trickled from her wrists where the ropes had cut into her skin. But her eyes were the strongest I had ever seen them. Japheth, she rasped, the truth Callista told you isn't the whole truth. Callista stiffened at the top of the stairs. I stood frozen between them, my wife broken, my daughter shaking, and my world hanging by a single thread. Angel's voice trembled. I didn't lie about her father. She is not biologically yours. That part is true. My heart tightened, but I said nothing. I could barely breathe. But the man who fathered Callista, he didn't disappear. Angel looked up at me with tears that carried 22 years of guilt. He came back. Years later. Callista's jaw dropped. Mom, what? Angel shut her eyes, unable to face either of us. He found me when you were at work, Japheth, when Callista was 5. He wanted money. He wanted me to rekindle what we had. And when I refused, he threatened to tell you everything. My stomach twisted. Angel kept going, her voice cracking like thin glass. I paid him. Over and over. He became obsessed. Violent. He stalked me for years. And when the payments finally stopped, he changed his target. My breathing faltered. He started watching Callista, Angel whispered. Not as a father. As a man. And I knew, if he ever reached her, he would destroy her. Callista gasped, stumbling back a step. I could see the horror spreading across her face. Angel looked at her, tears flowing freely now. That's why I never told you, Japheth. Because the moment you found out she wasn't yours, you would go looking for him. And he would appear. And he would come for her. I shook my head. Hard. No. No, this wasn't real. This wasn't happening. Callista wrapped her arms around herself, trembling violently. Mom, why didn't you tell me? Because he's dangerous, Angel cried. He's not in prison, not dead, he's still out there. And if he ever sees your face, he'll recognize it. You look exactly like him. My knees weakened. I grabbed the wall to steady myself. Callista's voice trembled. So, that's why you had a burner account? Why you met at that warehouse? You were paying someone to track him? Angel nodded. Yes. I hired a private investigator. To keep him away. To keep you safe. Callista's face crumpled into agony. I thought you were cheating on Dad. I thought you were leaving us. Angel sobbed softly. I would never leave you. Either of you. A heavy silence fell over us. A silence thick enough to choke on. Callista sank to her knees at the top of the stairs, clutching her head, her hands trembling violently. I ruined everything. I ruined everything because I thought I knew the truth. But then, everything shattered again. Because Angel lifted her face and whispered the one sentence that turned the entire world upside down. Japheth, he found us. I froze. Callista gasped. The air was ripped out of the room. Angel swallowed hard. He came to the house last week. While you were at work. My blood ran ice cold. He told me. She closed her eyes. That he wants Callista now. I snapped. What? Angel nodded weakly. He said she's grown. Beautiful. And he wants her to know her real bloodline. That if I don't give her to him, he'll take her himself. Rage erupted inside me so violently I tasted metal in my mouth. He threatened my daughter? I growled. Japheth, Angel whispered, I locked myself in the basement to protect Callista. Not from you. Not from us. But because he said he was coming back. Tonight. A cold wind, though every window was closed, seemed to blow across the back of my neck. Callista's phone buzzed. She looked down. And her face drained of all color. "Dad," she stuttered, holding the phone out to me with trembling hands. "Look." A message flashed on her screen. Sent from an unknown number. Just one sentence. "Hello, little one. I think it's time we finally met." The timestamp? 11:46 p.m. Just 1 minute before I got home. My jaw clenched as a storm of rage tore through my chest. Angel choked out, "He's coming, Japheth." Callista burst into tears, shaking uncontrollably. And I felt something inside me shift. Something dark. Something ancient. Something protective and merciless. If that man thought he was coming here. If he believed he could walk into my home. If he thought for even 1 second that he could touch my daughter. Then tonight, I was going to end this. For good. The moment I read that message on Callista's phone, something ancient and violent awoke inside me. Not fear. Not panic. Instinct. Rage. Protection. The kind that turns a softly-spoken man into something unrecognizable. I handed the phone back to Callista. Her hands were shaking so violently she almost dropped it. Angel was still halfway down the stairs, gripping the railing with bloodied knuckles, her body trembling from pain and exhaustion. And me? I could feel my pulse pounding in my throat as I whispered. "He's not coming here. Not tonight. Not ever." But even as the words left my lips, a soft, deliberate knock echoed through the house. Knock. 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 Slow. Confident. Like the person on the other side knew we were frozen, and he enjoyed it. Callista's breath caught. Angel squeezed her eyes shut. The knock came again. Louder this time. Bang. 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 My blood went hot. Everything inside me sharpened. "Stay here," I whispered, and stepped away from them. But Callista scrambled down 2 steps, grabbing my arm. "Dad, don't open it. What if he has a weapon? What if he—" I cupped her face gently. "I'm right here. Nothing will happen to you." She nodded through tears, but it was the kind of nod someone gives when they don't believe the lie, just the person telling it. Another knock. Heavier. Impatient. Angel mustered her strength enough to whisper, "Japheth, he's not alone. He never comes alone. Please, please don't be reckless." But I was past caution. Past fear. This man had threatened my daughter. Watched her. Hunted her. Tried to take my wife's life apart piece by piece. Whatever he wanted. I was ready to give him something else instead. I reached the door. My hand hovered over the knob. The house was silent. Too silent. Then a voice came from the other side, smooth, low, almost amused. "Japheth, open the door. We need to talk." My entire body tensed. He knew my name. He wasn't guessing. He'd been watching. But I didn't open the door. Not yet. Instead, I stepped to the side and shouted, "What do you want?" His response was calm. Too calm. Just the truth, and what belongs to me. I felt my jaw clench so hard my teeth hurt. "Nothing in this house belongs to you." A small laugh drifted through the wood. "Don't be dramatic. I just want to see my daughter." Behind me, Callista gasped softly. Angel trembled. His voice turned darker, more sinister. "You've had her for 21 years. I think it's my turn." My vision blurred with rage. "I'm giving you 3 seconds to walk away," I growled. "Because if you stay—" "What?" His voice shifted into a mocking whisper. "You'll kill me?" I didn't answer. The silence told him everything. He chuckled. "Open the door, Japheth. Or I'll open it for you." That was it. I unlocked the door, but instead of swinging it wide, I cracked it open just an inch, keeping my foot braced behind it. And that was when I saw him. He leaned in, smiling faintly. Gray eyes. A scar along his jaw. Hair too neat for a man with a soul like his. And a presence, thick, predatory. Behind him stood another man, tall, muscular, eyes scanning the house like a sniper spotting targets. He smirked. "You look nervous." I didn't blink. "I'm furious." The man lifted his hand, gently tapping the door with one finger. "Move aside. I'm coming inside." "No," I said calmly. "You're not." He exhaled, disappointed. "Then we do this the unpleasant way." He stepped forward. And I slammed the door shut. But before I could lock it, he kicked it. Hard. The wood cracked. Callista screamed. Angel cried out from the stairs. Another kick. The frame splintered. Bang! The door flew open. He stormed in, taller than I remembered. Stronger. Shadows clung to him like he'd been carrying darkness around for decades. The other man followed behind him, blocking the exit. Callista backed away, clutching the railing. Angel was too weak to move. The biological father, my wife's tormentor, looked around the house with hunger in his eyes. Then he sighed happily. Home sweet home. Something inside me snapped completely. "You come near my daughter," I started. He cut me off with a cruel smile. "She's mine, Japheth. By blood. And I take care of what's mine." Callista cried out, "I'm not yours." He looked at her with a twisted warmth. "Oh, sweetheart, you don't even know the half of who you are." Callista hid behind me. He stepped closer. "Come with me, darling. Let's start fresh." My voice was low, deadly. "She's not going anywhere." He raised a brow. "You think you can stop me?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Because suddenly, from behind him, outside the broken door, red and blue lights exploded across the walls. Sirens wailed. Engines roared. Multiple car doors slammed. He turned sharply. "What?" I exhaled slowly. "I already called the police." His face twisted with rage. "You idiot." The officers shouted commands, weapons drawn. "Put your hands where we can see them." His partner fled instantly, sprinting into the yard, tackled within seconds. But the father? He lunged toward Callista. Not to grab her. To kill her for defying him. That was when I moved. I tackled him with everything in me. The two of us crashed into the wall so hard the pictures shattered. He swung wildly, punching, clawing, snarling, but rage fueled me beyond pain. "You will never touch my daughter." We rolled across the floor. He reached for a knife he'd tucked in his boot. But I grabbed his wrist. Twisted. Pulled. He screamed. The blade clattered across the hardwood. Officers stormed in, dragging him off me, slamming him onto the floor, cuffing him as he thrashed and screamed. "You think she's yours? You think you can keep her from me?" They hauled him upright. His eyes met mine. Burning with hatred. "This isn't over." I stood tall, chest heaving. "Yes, it is." The police carried him out as he kicked and cursed. Callista ran into my arms, sobbing violently. Angel collapsed against the stairs, crying from relief and guilt. The danger was gone. The monster was caught. But the cracks in my family, those were still wide open. And the deepest revenge I would ever take, the one against both betrayal and terror, was only just beginning. The house was silent again, but it was the kind of silence that presses on your chest and makes it hard to breathe. Sirens had faded into the distance, the intruders were gone, and yet the tension between us, me, Angel, and Callista, was almost unbearable. I held Callista tightly. Her body was shaking violently, but she was alive. That was all that mattered. My mind replayed every detail, the basement, the locked door, the lies, the secrets, and the man who had tried to destroy everything. Angel, sitting halfway down the stairs, her hair disheveled and tears streaking her face, looked up at me. "Japheth, I'm sorry," she whispered. I felt a deep, burning anger. Not just at the man who came for Callista, not just at the chaos, but at the years of secrecy. At the lies she had kept to protect us. I knelt beside her, looking into her eyes. "Angel, you should have told me. Everything. The truth would have saved us from tonight." Her voice cracked. "I know. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could shield Callista, shield you. But I was wrong. All of it. I took a deep breath, feeling the rage simmer down into a cold, hard resolve. Wrong? I said, my voice low and deadly. Angel, tonight you put your own life and your daughter's life at risk. And you almost destroyed me too. Her eyes widened. Japheth. No, Japheth. Tonight, I make the rules. No more lies. No more secrets. If we are going to survive as a family, everything comes out. Callista, trembling in my arms, peeked up. Dad, what are you going to do? I looked at her and felt a wave of determination wash over me. This was more than survival. This was revenge. Not just against the man who came for Callista, but against every deception, every hidden truth, every betrayal that had festered in the shadows for years. We're going to finish this, I said, my voice steady. And when we're done, nothing like this will ever threaten us again. Angel nodded slowly, fear still in her eyes but a spark of trust returning. I'll tell you everything, Japheth. Every detail. I promise. I glanced at Callista, squeezing her hand. And you, no more secrets. You trust me. We all trust each other. That's the only way we survive. Callista nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't know what I was doing. You'll live, I said firmly. And tonight, you'll remember that I will protect you at all costs. Then I made the call. This time, it wasn't a desperate call to the police. It was a call for justice, the kind that made sure the man who had tried to destroy our family would never see the light of day again. Evidence I'd collected over the years, records, transactions, contacts, and surveillance from Angel's private investigator, was handed directly to the authorities. The father's accomplices were arrested. His attempts to track Callista ended in the courtroom. His threats, lies, and manipulations were laid bare for the world to see. And as I stood in the courtroom weeks later, watching him shackled and humiliated, I felt something I hadn't felt in decades, pure, righteous vengeance. It wasn't just about anger anymore. It was about survival. About taking back control of our lives. About ensuring that the people we loved could never be harmed again. That night, when we returned home, the three of us, Angel, Callista, and I, sat together on the living room floor. We held hands, and for the first time in years, we spoke openly, honestly, and without fear. No more secrets. No more lies. No more threats. We rebuilt trust, piece by piece. And while the scars of that night would never fully disappear, the power of our family, our love, and our resolve had been forged in fire. I realized then that revenge isn't just about hurting those who do wrong, it's about reclaiming your life, your dignity, and protecting the ones you love with every ounce of strength you have. And as I held Callista and Angel close that night, I made a silent promise, whatever darkness came for us next, we would face it together, and we would triumph.